I was high functioning, honors university student, full-time jobs, paying my own way, and also self-destructive. Today, I want to talk about addiction that doesn't look like addiction and the moment I found something better than the high. Welcome to the Wild Wisdom Way, a memoir and podcast unfolding in real time as I embark upon the journey of getting real as fuck. As I move through the gritty, raw, and deeply vulnerable acts of writing my memoir, I'm inviting you inside the mess, inside the meaning, and inside those magic moments that cracked me wide open. This podcast speaks to the very human experience of how storytelling becomes a path back to ourselves and each other. Each episode weaves together personal narrative, reflection, and lived insights from the edges of growth. This is about wisdom that reveals itself one wild step at a time. My name is Stephanie. Let's walk together. In this episode, I want to talk about my own personal experience in living the myth that if I'm achieving, I'm fine. I want to talk about the self-destruction that lives beneath the achievement and that deep desire for connection, freedom, and love that seems to underpin it all. Let's rewind to 20 years ago. It's 3 a.m. on a Monday morning. I'm in a dark, dingy underground basement with loud tribal tech house music pumping, pulsing. There's a sea of half-naked bodies. I don't even know where they begin and where I end. Sweat is dripping from the ceiling as though it's raining. I am so high and haven't slept in 2 or 3 days. In my bloodstream are drugs like ecstasy, speed, GHB, cocaine. That's just what I'm aware of. And just outside of all this madness, on the street, in a few hours, on a Monday morning in the city of Toronto, Canada, people are getting up for work. I have an 8 a.m. university class to attend. I actually attend that class. Nothing about this makes sense. Looking back, even just recalling this memory, I feel this pit of like anxiousness start to well up in my gut. I feel this like this sense of I almost want to throw up. This was my life for a lot of years. Somehow I graduated university as an honors student. Somehow I was maintaining an almost full-time job throughout that while paying my way in a new city on my own. Somehow, on the surface, I was achieving like crazy. I was starting up my career as an entrepreneur on the side. Like things were going really well in my life, and yet I was a mess underneath all that. Every single week for years, I would party from Thursday to Sunday, sometimes not sleeping. The amount of drug use was ridiculous. The amount of experiences and things I witnessed, that's a whole other episode. So on the outside, I was achieving so much. I was high functioning. I was successful in all the ways that seem to count in our society. On the inside, I was spending most of my energy recovering from the party or gearing up for the next party. There was maybe one day in the middle of the week where I would start to feel like myself. I would start to feel centered in myself. And then the next party would happen and boom, every week, these 3-day hangovers that would follow from such benders were filled with feelings of depression, depletion, anxiety, a loss of joy, a loss of desire. The serotonin crash alone from all that ecstasy and MDMA use was tremendously detrimental to my nervous system. And then, just as I would start to feel somewhat like myself again midweek, my sense of joy would come back, my sense of interest in life would come back. I'd be gearing up for the next party and diving straight in head first once more. But I wouldn't change it for anything. I would not go back and do things differently because I recognize how necessary and pivotal that period of time in my life was. The beautiful side of the experience of gathering in community to experience rhythm and music and the pulse of life together, to disappear in a crowd full of people and really enter into a sea of oneness, of bliss, where I look around and I love everyone. Now, yes, the drug is doing this for me, but it allowed me to see that this was possible. And here's why I wouldn't do it differently, why I wouldn't change a thing. Because my experiences with partying, with ecstasy and other drug use, was it brought me to these moments of bliss, of connection, of unity, of oneness, of love, this unconditional absolute love that I feel for everyone, no matter their life circumstances, no matter their life situation, no matter their labels and identities. Everyone was one in those moments. And that was a hard experience to come back from. To come back from that experience in the hangover, the crash, the everyday life where I did not feel that sense of oneness and unity. I did not feel that sense of connection. I did not feel love for and from everybody. I felt a deep sense of separation and isolation and a need to struggle to prove myself and to get somewhere in a world that was very achievement and success based. So there's these like dichotomies of experience. And then one day, a friend invited me to a yoga class. And I remember being in that yoga class for the first time without drugs, feeling my body in a very sensual, very visceral way, feeling the nuances within my body, feeling the breath moving in my body, noticing the thoughts moving through my mind. And then at moments on that yoga mat, entering into spaces of absolute bliss, calm, clarity, oneness, union, divinity. And that was just the first class. And that was a wake-up call for me. That was the beginning of a new journey for me, where I recognized all that I have been seeking through drugs, sex, and partying. It's already right here. It's all right here. It's all in me. I don't need a 3-day hangover in order to experience it. That was a fucking wake-up call. So it's funny, I never actually considered myself an addict, nor did I call myself an addict, nor did I attend meetings for addicts. But looking back, I can see how the behavior was addictive behavior. In that moment in time in my life, I felt as though I couldn't have fun, I couldn't experience connection, I couldn't taste love and unity without a shitload of drugs. And so I kept chasing that high again and again and again, week after week, 3-4 day benders, where I would just dive into that feeling of connection, oneness, unity. And then for 3 or 4 days afterwards, I'd be picking myself up off the floor, literally, figuratively, metaphorically, all the things. And so I was addicted. I was addicted to the high, and I was addicted to the substances that brought me the high. It became clear to me that the addictive tendencies I had been chasing and I had been consumed by, and I no longer had control over, they were going to swallow me up whole. I came to this realization that none of this was sustainable and that I was killing myself slowly. I remember in my final year of university, my boyfriend and some friends and I, we all drove from Toronto to Montreal to go to this big party. And we were high on all sorts of drugs for like 3 or 4 days straight, dancing. And yet it was exam time in university. And I had this one last exam to do, like the day after the party in Montreal ended. And so I had this weighing on me, and yet I still went to the party. I still did the drugs. Like I was on this self destructive path that was just leading me to chase a bliss that I could never fully grab onto. So I kept chasing it with the drugs, the partying, more, 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 more. And then the time came home to drive back home to Toronto. I actually had to leave my friends early so that I could get home in time to write this exam, this one last university exam. I hadn't slept for 3 days. And the night before the exam, I couldn't sleep. I was still high. And when I went in that morning to write the exam, still in the effects of the drugs, hadn't slept in 3, maybe 4 days, I sat down at that desk. I looked at the exam and the page went squirrely. I couldn't even see what was written, and I almost fainted. And I got up and walked out of that exam. And the teacher looked at me and she said, "Steph, are you okay?" And I said, "No, I'm not okay." And I just like left. I walked out of that exam. And that teacher contacted me. I will never forget this moment of compassion. That teacher contacted me. She emailed me and she said, "Hey, I recognize you're going through something, and I want to give you an opportunity because I feel you're a good student and I feel like you're going somewhere in life. And I want to give you an opportunity to come to my office and write this exam privately tomorrow." And I remember just bursting into tears and feeling that moment of like, it's like she had allowed me in that moment to see myself, to see the mess I'd become, to see the full cost of this addictive lifestyle and what it was doing to me. And in any moment, it might fully destroy me. And so I slept a full night's sleep. I nourished myself. I went and I wrote that exam. I graduated with honors that year, my final year of university. And my life started to change. It wasn't all at once. It took a while to take myself out of those behavioral patterns, but I kept going to yoga classes. I started studying yoga so deeply. I even went to yoga teacher trainings and started teaching yoga. And I started recognizing that this power that I was outsourcing to drugs, partying, sex, destructive behavior, this power that I was outsourcing actually lived within me, and it didn't take a lot to tap into it. So, what I learned through this process was that I can start to become bliss embodied, love embodied, unity, oneness embodied without the aftermath. I can choose presence without the chaos. And when I started to understand what real aliveness felt like in my body, real sustainable aliveness, I recognized that the drugs, the partying, the debaucherous lifestyle, that was not aliveness. That was operating on borrowed time, borrowed energy, and the cost was huge. And I'm really grateful for whatever forces were at play, perhaps some divine intervention, perhaps some free will, whatever forces were at play that allowed me to step out of the addictive, self-destructive spiral before it consumed me. To that friend who invited me to the yoga class, thank you. To the tradition of yoga, thank you. To the intuitive wisdom within me that said, this no longer feels okay. Thank you. And to all of the experiences, thank you. Because all of it allowed me to come closer to that wild wisdom within. So let this be a reminder to all of us that what may seem like success and achievement on the outside, on the surface, we have no idea what's going on beneath that. And I feel like the real success, the real achievement is tuning into that authentic aliveness within us and letting that lead the way. For many years, I was high functioning, caught in an addictive loop and a downward spiral that could have destroyed me completely. And now I feel like I'm embodying what success and achievement actually means to me. And that is a feeling of sustainable aliveness and vitality and authenticity that moves through me and moves me. So I'm not here to preach sobriety nor any model of perfection. I'm actually here to say that whatever journey you are on, whatever you are moving through, whatever self-destructive or other destructive tendencies you are noticing in yourself and desiring to step out of, I see you. And I'm here to remind you that there are many ways to be in this life. And that whatever has brought you to this moment, it's not wrong. It's all part of the path. And when we can start to see the gifts, the lessons in all of it, then we can start to integrate our life experiences in a fully embodied way. So my early years of drug use, partying, debauchery, while the memory of that still brings a little like flutter in my tummy and a sort of ball of anxiety in my gut, I also look upon those moments with great gratitude and laughter. Sometimes I can't believe the many lives I've lived, and yet at the same time I can. They've all brought me here to this moment, and so I wouldn't change a thing. And if I can offer this one little gem of insight along your own wild wisdom way, it's that whatever you're seeking outside of yourself, I guarantee you it's already in here. And when you experience that for yourself, and I hope you do, and I trust you will, life gets a little easier. We don't have to try so hard. We don't have to grasp for things constantly. It's like, oh, this bliss, this love, this connection, this unity, this peace, it's right here. And there are many paths and many roundabout ways to get there, many ways to experience it. And it's all right here. I think that's the most important thing to remember. So I wish you many blessings on your journey wherever you are, and know that the journey continues in the next episode. If you're feeling into taking that tender first step, try my free empowerment ritual. It's online, it's simple, accessible, a 25-minute set of daily practices that can help you to rise and thrive in an empowered way. I'm going to put the link in the description, but you can also comment free ritual and I'll send you the link directly. Thanks so much for walking this wild wisdom way with me. If you're feeling along your own path, that you're walking towards greater authenticity, more empowered expression, and fully embodied wisdom, you're in the right place. If this feels resonant, please share your love by subscribing, liking, and sharing this channel with your loved ones. I'd also love to hear from you in the comments. How's this landing in you? What feels alive for you? What's moving through? Let's talk about it. See you in the next episode. Much love.